Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a Step-Stool Laddercast. And today we're going to be looking at a match played on Fields of Isis, but before we get into introducing our blue and red players respectively, please consider going down below and hitting those buttons. There's a new one there. There is like, dislike, subscribe. There's also commenting, the bell, along with the super thanks thing, which I don't know how it works, but if you want to thank me with a super donation, go for it. Now let's go ahead and introduce our players, starting on the western side with the Blue Titan of Industry. He is, of course, a Cybran, and he has started first land, and his name is Sam Sight. Rocking this blue color and being our low-rated Cybran representative, and his opponent across the way, a red UEF who is hoping to use his micro skills to absolutely demolish that of his opponents, and his name is Smort, and he is our low-rated representative of the UEF today. It's UEF versus Cybran, a classic of the classic matchups, and it is, of course, going to be on a map that we all know and love. It's been around since the beginning, and it will be around long after it is Fields of Isis, featuring the 10,000-ish reclaim here in these two little choke points in the middle. Gonna have to see which side manages to grab more reclaim throughout this game, but it's a low-rated game, so I'm sure that won't decide it. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer one for you, so please just go ahead and get yourself a snack and a drink ready, as we're gonna have a lot of action kicking off on this very deserty looking map. And go down into the comments and tell me how your day is going. Let's start a conversation and spread some happiness among the FAF community, something that we are all desperately lacking. Stop complaining about your teammates and start talking about stupid stuff like your dogs. And I don't know where I'm now the positivity movement of FAF. Thank you very much. As expansion underway for Samsite, getting up an air factory pretty early on, and has some more land factories queued up. On the side of Smort, we're going to be seeing multiple land factories queued up, along with mass extractors and the such. We have some early dirty mech marine play coming out from the red UEF. Gonna have to keep an eye on these two mech marine raiding parties. Think the one to the north is going to have a little bit more trouble. This one might be able to sneak in behind enemy lines. I don't believe Samsite has a radar up yet, although he does have these scouts, which definitely will give him an idea of what is incoming. If he is paying any kind of attention, he will be able to immediately shut this down. Ooh, only pops onto radar for just a second. Maybe not. Thought you'd get a little bit better of a radar signature out from those scouts, but they do not do justice to their Mantis ally. They do not allow the leader, the glorious leader Samsite and his ACU, to notice this mech marine incursion. On the northern side, another mech marine going to be coming down with its Snoop escort, and it's going to be shot down pretty uneventfully, as it's going to be running right into a tank and possibly a commander. Both of the commanders opting to go for the southern side, which is interesting coming up from Samsite, as he spawns closer to this northern side. Does have an engineer heading up to this northern side. Smort also has an engineer going up there, and his comm is heading towards the southern side as he builds a factory to try and reinforce a little bit earlier. Wow, this mech marine managing to not get caught up by the tank, but does manage to kill off a scout. This mech marine down here managing to kill off an engineer, and may even get lucky enough to pick off a mass extractor, as that Sky Slammer manages to miss basically every shot. And yeah, gonna get one rank of veterancy before dying as it kills off a mass extractor. Huge trades going on. Over here to the north, a Mantis almost reclaimed by the engineer of Smort, but not quite possible for that engineer to get the kill. As the striker over here, going to be able to pick up a kill onto that Mantis, gonna have to swing the turret around, but will be able to kill off that Mantis, meaning this area is still contested by both players. Both of the comms reaching the reclaim field about at the same time. Gonna be interesting to see if anything results from them being in vicinity of each other. Expansion-wise, I would say that Smort getting a little bit better on the expansion. He didn't have his engineer killed off by a mech marine, which really helps him out a little bit, as he's got a factory set up over here for his northern kind of expansion. As Samsite rolls onto the position of Smort, starts doing a little bit of reclaim of his own. Smort just gonna stand here and fire shots into that blue Cybern comm. And that comm gonna be going down on HP relatively quickly. He's gonna need to be a little bit careful. May even want to pull up some units, as Smort could smell blood in the water momentarily. Needs to be a little bit careful with that comm, does Samsite, as he tries to push forward on this northern side. Gonna run into a line of pillars, or I mean a line of strikers, not pillars. If they were pillars, that'd be concerning for the blue Cybern. And gonna be losing his units there. A little bit of a early donation, a little peace offering. Here is a little bit of reclaim. Please don't hurt me, is the way I'm going to interpret that one. As it does seem Smort has come over here. He has claimed dominance over the reclaim field, but does not take it, as that is the overall power play. Only reclaiming whenever he wants to build a factory. Quite the industrious move, if you ask me. And not really opting to go straight for the Titan and Harbinger Rex. And overall has some units coming to stream in to help him out. Over on the northern side, a large fight taking place as strikers mow through some more Mantis and a Lobo or two. And overall, these players kind of just getting their aggression out early. Hopefully we can see this aggression continue. Usually you have an issue in these lower rated ladder games of players getting very standoffish very quickly, being very afraid to commit units or build a lot of them in that for that matter. Scorcher gonna go down without getting any kind of damage done. Very unfortunate for Smort, although he is doing his best, as we all are. And Sam Sight, he's decided he doesn't need an expansion. Who cares about that stuff? Who needs expansion when you have factory? And I respect that. I respect our blue Cybern compadre for not focusing on little things like getting more mass extractors, instead being happy with what he has and being content to just build more factories and get more units out onto the map. Overall reclaim, Smort at 2.2 thousand versus 1.7 thousand of Samsite. Smort having gone for damage and range pretty early, maybe looking for a kill onto this Cybern comm. The Cybern comm might even be able to rack up a little bit of veterancy here. He goes for manual reclaim whenever he should just be shooting tanks here. Does have to fall back a little bit as he's under threat. A bit of a run-by attempt coming out from Smort. I think this PD goes online and stops this in its tracks, though. This PD going to be extremely cost-effective, although it's seemingly coming down to try and cut off the comm of Samsite. Not sure that comm is going to be under threat too much by about 10 strikers, although is on about half HP. Does need to be a little bit careful with it there, as the expansion efforts for Smort slowly paying off, as he's gained the mass generation lead, as he already had the reclaim lead. Reclaim evening up a little bit here, as a bunch of units start to make their way on towards the comm of Samsite, and he is going to be taking a bit of damage. He needs to get his own units in the area, spending a lot of mass on some point defense, but that is of course the way it goes in these lower rated games. Point defense very OP when your opponents just kind of run face first into them. He is going to be able to slowly pick off units here. He's very close to a rank of veterancy, so he's deceptively not in a bad position here. He's going to be able to kill off a few of these units, although stopping to build structures while there are Lobos within range does not seem like the best idea. I'm sure that Samsite, our fearless leader of the Cybern, will find the best and most efficient strategy, as the Cyberns are very akin to doing, whereas the UEF more of a sledgehammer to the Cybern's scalpel, deciding to just say, well, I have a lot of tanks, just shove them in there. Just listen. You remember that game when you were a kid where you had to put the right shaped thing in the right shaped hole? Well, we're taking a tank shaped thing and shoving it in every hole, and that is the motto and way of the UEF, shoving tanks into holes since 22. I don't know canonically when the timeline, like what time is this set in? I don't think it really matters, but it's fun to think about, is it not? Few pillars going to be making their way in. A lot of factories queued up for Sam's site, although I don't know how he plans to afford this. Probably with some form of taxation on the poor, as most things are afforded by governments in the ruling class. Just keep taxing the poor until they revolt. That's the mighty French way. And the British way, because that's how they lose their colonies. Oh man, just making all the history jokes we can today. As the comm of Smort starts walking forward, Sam's site almost finishing a factory and deciding, nope, I'm gonna walk into this gun comm and assert dominance by reclaiming in his face and then building this factory. Sam's site under threat of just straight out dying right here. Don't know what would stop Smort at this given moment other than a lot of units, and sorry for the weird mouth noise I just made there. I don't think I can edit it out. It was mid-word. Try and avoid doing those, but for some reason my tongue just got stuck to the top of my mouth. Oh, you know when your tongue gets stuck to the top of your mouth? Wow, Smort very wary with his comm, not going for the kill on the 2000 HP Cybern Commander. We're gonna have to see if that bites him in the ass moving forward, as that was a very prime opportunity to scalp his opponent early and get a very quick 10-minute victory. To the north, the Red Horde congregates, ready to pounce upon the blue populace of the Cybern. Back home, the development project of Smort's base going quite well, up to T2 air and land, whereas Smort not quite investing in higher technology and instead deciding more factory is better. A few tanks managing to get into the backline over here and yet again stifle the expansion coming out from Smort. He's not too far behind economically, only about 10 mass a second behind. Although that will stack up quickly if he's unable to secure these mass extractor points. It just seems like he's having a few struggles doing so, as he is flirting with the idea of fighting this force. This force overwhelming out from Smort as he bears down on Sam's site's position. His forward factories under threat, although I think there's probably enough units here for the blue Cybern to be able to ward off this tank-shaped peg being shoved into his factory hole. Should probably stop talking about shoving things into holes before I get demonetized on YouTube. Although, I don't know how suggestive just saying shoving things into holes is. Does it bother you? Does anybody get, like, do you all get, like, a visceral reaction to me saying shoving tanks into holes? Or is it just funny now? The force out from Smort is cleaned up, as he has some T2 units gracing the field now, some pillars and mongoose. He is, of course, building mongoose, which is a sin here at Willowcast, but we will, of course, forgive it, as he does not know better. Although, Smort, if you see this, stop building mongoose. I almost 100% guarantee you will miss-micro them. This game, in fact. I can give, like, a Willow seal of approval, or seal of guarantee that these mongoose will be miss-microed this game. And that is simply because it's not something you can just throw at your opponent, and we've already seen how Smort likes to use his units. Pillars will get you a lot farther in the shoving tanks into holes than mongoose, as they are neither tanks and they are made of paper. T2 on the way now for Smort. He already has that gun damage and range upgrade. Whereas no upgrades on the way for Sam's site. Sam's site deciding who needs upgrades when you have a lot of factories. And you know what? I really like Sam's site's approach to this game. He's just lots of factories, and that's how I play this game as well. T2 finished up, land portion of T2, of course, for Sam's site, as T2 land and air has been done for a while for Smort. Doesn't really have much T2 air to speak of. Is now starting to produce Janus, which will be incredibly useful for warding off this large mantis force to the north that is starting to threaten towards his main base. Whoa, knocking things over on my desk. As these units get in here, kill off another mass extractor, and continue to threaten towards that main base. To the south, T2 is finished up. Triads on the way for Smort. Gonna possibly see a large fire base built over here. ISIS lends itself well to fire bases, and if he can manage to hold this area without committing units, it means all of his units can be committed to the north, whereas Samsite currently in a situation where he has done a little bit of fire basing. Wow, Janus coming in, trying to kill off T1 power generators. Is Samsite going to have power woes after this? Ooh, he manages to keep a few of those alive, but it seems as though a power stall is going to be inevitable if he does not find a way to prevent that from happening again. Sorry for the lack of commentary for a second. Had to blow my nose. As we are watching a mongoose being mismicroed as it moves right into the enemy force and dies doing very little. So yes, my seal of approval. Mismicroed mongoose. Promised they'd be here. There they are. These mongoose are also going to be mismicroed because by now you should already be turning around and running away. I don't think it's going to be as egregious with the parashield there. Although mongoose are going to die. Very expensive to lose a mongoose whenever you do not need to. And that mongoose living on a sliver of HP may go down nonetheless, does go down nonetheless as he continues to just push forward into the T1 force. A very effective trade. T2 units always going to trade well with T1 units, although he could have gone a lot more cost effectiveness with a bit more mongoose micro, but I will subsist or cease and desist on my mongoose tirade. You all have heard it many a times from me, and I will not harp on it any longer. We have this fire base continuing to go up, walls being added, a PGen queued up. To the north, this T2 roaming band of death bearing down on the position of Samsite. Doesn't have a lot of T2 production, but does have some T2 units out on the field. Some rhinos now showing up to try and help out. Rhinos going to be very effective as long as they aren't taking the brunt of the damage. Reclaim going on. Like to see those reclaim orders, attack orders out of a factory. Very quickly going to be able to suck up the remnants of this fight that does seem to be going his way. These T2 units going to take a little bit longer than the T1 to be shot down, but will go down nonetheless to the overwhelming horde of units out from Samsite. And trades continue to go back and forth, although with this reclaim, it does seem as though Samsite's going to be pulling ahead on the reclaim game, although he is behind on the mass generation game. Going to be a bit of a trade-off, although he's losing the trade-off overall, about 5,000 mass behind in total generation. As we continue this watching these low-level juggernauts duke it out on a very, very nice map. 3 Alohas queued up for Smort. He is going to say hello in the most violent way possible, and this is coming probably at a no, it's not really a bad time, as these are all T1. If he uses these tactical missiles on T1 mexes, it's actually a mass ineffective trade. It will cost you more to kill that T1 mex than is invested in it, and it really doesn't shut down this area for long. The moment Samsite sees they're gone, he can just re-queue up all those mexes very quickly. Is Smort able to afford this? He's going to have a bit of power struggles as he stalls right now. Does he have any more T2 power back at the base? Probably needs to pause some of these factories and get more T2 power online. Although, pausing the factories is a risky proposition, as he's very light on land forces, and up here to the north, Samsite has a relatively large horde of Cybern units which could be used in great effectiveness as long as he keeps them a bit bunched up against the mass pillar force. I do respect that the amount of mongoose has gone down significantly. A lot more focus on pillars coming out from Smort. Ooh, okay, that's where all the fighting's happening. Some T2 engineers out on reclaim orders being shut down. Reclaim continuing to go on for Samsite, who is continuing to stay ahead on the reclaim game and keeping it. He's even lowered it a bit down to about 3,000 mass behind. Reclaim really helping him out here. This player's very evenly matched, going tit for tat, blow for blow with each other. Whoa, all of these are T2. Wow, these all became T2 at the most inopportune time. This is going to be very brutal for the economy of Samsite, who's finally caught up in mass generation, and he's about to lose all of his hard work due to Alohas saying hello in that very violent manner I was talking about earlier. This large roving band of T1 and T2 going to be coming up against the T2 force of Smort. I do think that this T2 force of Smort is just going to be a little bit better. It's going to be a little bit stronger, but it will give us a very pretty show as we'll do this to see across the map how those Alohas are doing. Can we even check? They all have one missile loaded. If they already fired is the question. Unable to know that at the moment. This fight going not as poorly as I thought it might for the Blue Cybern or Samsite. One of the T2 mechs is already shut down, and I'm assuming just more to follow relatively soon. Just needs to find the APM to queue up all those mechs, and they will be down for the count in a matter of no time at all. I do like Samsite spreading out all of his T2 mechs. Of course, Smort doing just the same. As far as base development, stealth generator in the base. Interesting call, but I think it's a valid call. And overall, speaking of intel and intel ranges, not really all that much deep radar cover for Samsite. What about Smort? Smort having a lot better radar coverage, as he has a T2 radar here in the middle, still in a power stall, still kind of struggling with his power economy. Like to see him work on that a little bit. Samsite doing a bit better on the power economy balancing side of things. Hoplites now coming out for Samsite, so it's his turn to lose a bunch of ranged units unnecessarily. As here in the middle, a bit more fighting taking place. A few more tanks going to go down for Smort. A little bit more territory grabbed up for Samsite, who's continuing to have engineers in this force constantly reclaiming and still staying ahead on the reclaim game. Has caught up in total mass generated this game, despite the disadvantage he had earlier. 10,000 more mass reclaimed for the Blue Cybern. These players, yet again, even economically, going tit for tat and enjoying the fruits of their labor as they are both finding success with different strategies. The Alohas all have at least one missile loaded but have yet to fire. There's a T2 engineer over here. Would really love to see a TMD thrown up. Does Samsite know about the tactical missile launchers? No, he is oblivious, which means he's going to be in a bit of a difficult situation. He's thrown up TMD over here. Maybe he has noticed it. Maybe there was firing I didn't notice elsewhere. Buzzkill going to go down along with a bunch of units for Smort. Although at what cost to Samsite, as he's running into T1 PD and a large T2 force. This is a losing battle if ever I've seen one. He agrees as he moves further away. Very interesting T1 PD template here. Lots of walls. Hell, lots of walls here too. Doesn't seem to be a template, in fact, just seems to be hurriedly throwing together something, anything, to put walls around that that T1 PD. The artillery, the tactical missile launchers all have at least two missiles loaded now, although none of them firing. Seems like a huge missed opportunity. Tactical missile defense going online. This first one going to have the range to be able to cover all of those 4 mexes, or I guess 3 that are T2 now. A large fight going on over here in the north. This large T2 engagement between both players. Seems as though both players going to run out of units about the same time. Cerberus going up, meaningfully affecting this this little bit of a fight. Sure, the Cerberus not necessarily great at cleaning up T2 units as a Titan is on the field now. But the Titan will go down, and along with all of his allies, and this creates another massive reclaim field, and we've seen Samsite's propensity to get engineers in here for reclaim. I'm sure he has some engineers queued up somewhere to get more engineers over there for reclaiming. But did he notice the T3 threat? Now a Percival on the field, some more Titans going to be showing up momentarily as well. Seems as though a mix of 4 Titans and a Percival in both of his factories. He's going to have a very Titan-heavy force, although right now I think the Titans are going to be much appreciated. As the Percival is nice, it will have struggles dealing with the large group of Mantis here. That massive amount of overkill not going to help it one bit, as Sparkies hurriedly throw up Triads to try and help defend this position. 3 Titans on the field to try and help defend against this as well. T1 PD, Triads, and Titans are the hope here. If these units could maybe force their way inside the base, maybe get some economic damage done onto Smort, as Samsite's been able to keep up but not surpass the economy of Smort at any point during this game. Titans showing up, Titans getting huge mass efficiency against Samsite. Samsite does have engineers now up in the field, seemingly trying to reclaim and build up some defenses to hold this choke point. The tactical missile launchers launching missiles as quickly as possible. Although now there's enough TMD that this is going to be an ineffective fight. A huge mass sink for Smort. Titans starting to get a lot of value over here. Titans picking up nearly a rank of veterancy just off killing T1 units alone. Gonna stop any attempt to build up a defensive line for Samsite as he desperately tries to throw together enough units to hold off this Titan onslaught out from Smort. Titans proving their effectiveness in spades now, as T2 Mex is going to be going down along with large groups of units for Samsite. Samsite just doesn't have T3 land yet. Just doesn't have the capability to hold this off. T3 land going to be finishing up momentarily. Although, is it too late? Is he going to be able to hold on against the roving band of death coming towards his base? He can, of course, continue to throw out rhinos, and that will be a significant and good strategy to hold up. Rhino's going to be able to trade at least with these Titans. Mantis not quite going to be able to do anything against this. The Percivals could be dealt with by Mantis, and of course Medusa would be very useful at this point, as their stun will help out a little bit marginally against the large T3 force now accrued over here. Going to leave a lot of reclaim on the doorstep of our blue Cybran player. Gonna have to see if he can continue on that reclaim train he's been on. He does have a decent number of engineers in the area. Gonna be important for him if he wants to stay in this game for very much longer. He's got T3 land finished up. He just needs to hold on long enough to get those units out onto the field to help defend his territory. And here to the south, Smort still sitting in this forward position. A little bit risky, a little bit late in the game to be sitting there. Janus coming in, going to be fired at by T1 PD, T1AA. Seemingly targeted onto a rear T2 Mex. Gonna get it. 3 Janus has enough AoE and damage over time to kill off a T2 Mex. Especially considering the fact it's going to get a second pass as long as they don't lose all of their targeting. Although maybe not. The Janus called back, called away. At least one going to go down here. Maybe a second in all of them, in fact. if these interceptors are fast enough to chase it down before getting killed off by the SAM sites. SAM sites going to get massive value out of their AoE here. A lot of interceptors going to go down. Over here to the north, the Titans in a wolf pack against the ragtag band of Cybran at T1 and T2 phase. Will they be able to do it? Will they be able to finally punch through this overwhelming blue horde that's been keeping him from dealing critical damage to his opponent? The answer seems to be no for the moment. Every single time one of these fights happens, though, it seems like the blue Cybran horde gets thinned out a little bit more and struggles that tiniest bit more against the overwhelming tech advantage that Smort has managed to accrue for himself. Parashields being used to gain even more effectiveness with this force. As we wait for a little bit more action to pop off, let's go ahead and speed up the game to +2. We have T2 artillery battery set up now. Is it going to be capable of dealing any, or of inflicting any major damage? Maybe a T1 mechs in this forward fire base for SAM site is under threat. Other than that, not very much. Tactical missile launcher that has not managed to gain any value this game. Ravager now thrown up as well. Forward defensive position for SAM site going to be going down. To the north, the T3 force is building. A lot of loyalists now coming out onto the field for SAM site as he works on a Monkey Lord. Does not have a strong enough economy without reclaim to make this happen. Although just right here on screen, there's more than enough reclaim if you can manage to hold on to this territory for a bit. Although that's a tough ask with the T3 force that's been accrued by Smort on this northern side. The Loyalist's going to go down quite quickly to the Titan Percival combination. And the Mantis going to come in. Only good thing about the Mantis right now is that they are eating shots from Percivals. The Loyalists going down in quick succession. That Monkey Lord, though, could be the answer that SAM site needs. Although, while he is building it, it's obvious that his economy is suffering and that he's just unable to afford the large groups of units he's been forced to use to hold on to territory. And now he's going to be giving up a decent amount of territory as Titans and Percivals push in. They are pushing into a bunch of T1 PD. Titans and Percivals able to deal with that, of course. Titan's going to fare a little bit worse. The T1 PD walls still quite effective. The Percival's just going to fire an arc over those walls. The Titans and Percivals starting to push their way in, starting to gain value and get damage done to the base. We'll go ahead and slow it down a little bit. As these Titans going to make their way into the southern side, would like to see some PD thrown up to really stop this from dealing any kind of economic damage on to SAM site, who's only about 40% done on that Monkey Lord. He needs it done very, very soon. He just is starting to collapse due to the overwhelming tech advantage and numbers advantage that Smort has managed to accrue for himself. Going for that Monkey Lord may be a bit of a mistake, as he just can't seemingly afford the units required to defend himself now. Starting to look a little bit desperate for a blue Cybran, as the UEF proving yet again that the UEF are good at oppressing the Cybran people and good at winning these battles against the more ragtag band of units that the Cybran does tend to compose itself of. UEF, a very strong force to be reckoned with, although not quite as strong as the Aeon in their glorious battles and the cleansing of the heretics that they have been able to achieve, as they of course are the best faction. The Loyalists coming down from the north from SAM site, trying to hold off against these Titans. It's going to be 4 Loyalists versus 5 Titans. Titans in hostile territory, though. I'd like to see the Loyalists group up a little bit better. Titans staying as a cohesive unit, going to make their combat effectiveness go through the roof, although if they're right-clicked on the mexes, could be a dangerous thing. Maybe even see a suicide charge or two out from these loyalists to help out. The EMP weapon from that suicide charge could be huge. Does seem as though it's going to be a trade of 2 Titans for 2 loyalists, but the other 2 loyalists heavily damaged and unable to really participate any further. Only up to 55%. Progress on the Monkey Lord is slow. Sorry for the cough. Smort showing up with double strategic bomber. T3 air being achieved means that this is going to be a very difficult situation now for Samsite. He could very much so use some of his own namesakes. Those Sam sites would be incredibly useful for him as the ambassadors come in and rain their fury down upon all the T2 mexes. 53 mass a second, 45, and Samsite. If this is not a nail in the coffin, it is a board in it, as he is just down to almost no economy. He needs basically just to select all these engineers and tell them to reclaim, and that's his only hope of getting this Monkey Lord done, and then the Monkey Lord has to win the game on its own. Although the Monkey Lord may be a tough ask to win the game, as a Fat Boy is on the way, and a Fat Boy definitely beats a Monkey Lord as long as you have proper scouting. And with T3 air, I think Smort has achieved that. Let's go ahead and speed up the game, because it's basically just Monkey Lord or bust now for Samsite. Apologies for the coughs. Won't be able to edit them out of this one, as I do not have the time for that. Have a lot of replays to, or a lot of casts to edit through. Hopefully it only being a couple of instances means that it's not too unbearable. I am still suffering from aforementioned allergies in the Duelist cast, as the Monkey Lord is about to come online up to nearly 90%. The ASF being dealt with by the menagerie of T2AA. Strat bombers coming in, taking down the T2 mexes that remain. Samsite down to 56 mass a second and falling, going for the power generator, which might be the better call. Will stop all of the build progress on this Monkey Lord. The Monkey Lord is finished up. We're going to have to see if quality or quantity wins the day, as Samsite has gone for quantity and Smort has gone for quality. Smort is finished off his Fat Boy, which seems like the final nail in the coffin, honestly. Unless this Monkey Lord can sneak up on that Fat Boy, it's looking rather desperate for the blue Cybran. Does have some loyalists now pumping out to try and help this. Does have a supporting band of T2 and T3 units, although the Monkey Lord will be going up against a lot of Titans and Percivals. That Monkey Lord has such a beautiful model, as do so many other units in the FAF game, I guess, in Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Like to see those reflections coming off of it. The light not doing an injustice to the Cybran experimental spider bot, which Duelist has pointed out is not a spider, as it only has 6 legs. I guess we could call it, I don't know, what kind of bug does this look like to you? Kind of looks like a beetle to me. A beetle with a very strange placement of its head and one mandible. The Monkey Lord stretches its legs forward. The Fat Boy fire coming down and raining down on those loyalists in front of it. The oppressive firepower of the UEF stands before the ragtag group of Cybran units, and it looks like it may just be too much as the Fat Boy starts raining down that fiery hell onto this Monkey Lord. The Monkey Lord trying its best, trying to deal as much damage as it can to the T3 force. The T3 force focusing down onto the Monkey Lord. It's the Monkey Lord's job to win this battle single-handedly, but it is not quite able to as the Percival Fire with the Fat Boy Fire comes in. And with that, I think the game is relatively safe to say over. We're going to go ahead and speed it up and watch Smort take his victory lap. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Control K as the units out from Smort start to push forward with reckless abandon for their own lives, as they know there is nothing to stand in the way. Laser on the way after getting stealth for Sam Site. I don't think this laser upgrade finishes in time. All of the respect to Sam Site as he continued his battle right up to the end and tried his darndest to win this. I don't even think he finishes off Laser. That 25-second timer is a little bit longer than he has left on this great sandy map. Where many battles have been fought. Thank you all for watching. You are beautiful. Thank you to the Patreons. Consider using Super Thank. It's a way you can donate if you want to do one-time donation instead of doing the monthly programs that we have. Channel membership is also available. Subscribe and hit the bell if you aren't already with us. Trying to push for 2,000 subscribers this month, and I'm trying to put out a lot of content for you all and just really trying to up my casting game. If you have any casting recommendations, anything you think I could do better, let me know down in the comments. You all are beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.